Hello and welcome to episode 41 of the Ski Instructor podcast. My name's Dave Burrows and I'm the director and owner of Snowsports Ski School based here in a ridiculously snowy Val d'Illier in Switzerland. It's actually got to the point now where I have to dig myself out of my house in the mornings when it snows a lot. I live sort of below the road, if you like, and I've actually run out of place now to put all the snow. I'm clearing like all the snow on the steps and the driveway and stuff like that, like 3 times a day. It has been the most crazy start to the season I think I've ever seen since I've lived here, and certainly this is going to be. Certainly there's an amazing base for the season, but if it carries on like this, it's like fact skis all season. So seriously impressive European start to the ski season, and I hope for the rest of you around the world that you're also having a similar year. So this podcast is going to be it's going to form the Christmas special. So the Christmas special is essentially just me and Phil Brown. And Julian Griffiths, and also halfway through a guy called Steve Hindman turned up, who's on the US Nordic demo team. He's going to be working with Julian this season, so about sort of halfway through he appears as well. And basically we just sat down, had a big round table and with a few kind of general topics, and I thought it might be quite an interesting thing to do for a sort of a Christmas podcast. So we talk about sort of the state of the industry as it stands after 2 years of Corona stuff. We go on to talk about digital tech and its place in skiing. There's a whole bunch of tangents and stuff in there about teaching, learning. Is there enough teaching in most, or teaching, learning how to teach within national systems, and also things like customer care and looking after clients, selling yourself, marketing, that kind of stuff. So I've done quite a lot of editing on this because it got a bit out of hand. But but essentially I think what we've got here is the kind of the core of the good bits of the conversation that we had. So yeah, I hope that you're going to enjoy this podcast. Now, I've had 2 pieces of correspondence, which is great. I love receiving correspondence. One was from a guy called Mike Thomas. Hi, Mike. Thanks for writing in. He says, loving the podcast, Dave. Really interesting and motivational. I started with the Phil Smith episode, which was the first one, who he says he knew way back in the 80s. Great listening to the passion and insight offered. Mike goes on to talk about John Shedden, who was ahead of his time, definitely ahead of his time. I would agree with you on that. Would be a great person to interview. Now, a couple of people have asked me about John Shedden, and I've been in touch with him, but he basically wrote to me and said that he's a bit of a recluse these days and he didn't want to do it. So, I tried, but it's not going to happen. He also says Tom Ondras, who had pleasure of working with years ago. We were both club coaches. I shall keep recommending the podcast to friends and colleagues. Great work. So thanks for that, Mike. I really, really appreciate you getting in touch. That's really cool. And the second one, I can't believe it, but I got a message from Kurt Anderson. Kurt used to work for me like 2 seasons ago. And we still miss him, like massively. He's absolutely one of the safest pairs of hands you could ever have in your ski school. Hi, Kurt. Lovely to hear from you. Kurt writes and says, I was just listening to your podcast with John Olsen while I was working out. It was one of my favourites, not only for the content, but also for the depth. I can't wait for the second part. The second part's just been released, obviously, Kurt, and it's a bit more about skiing than just like suits and fashion and whatnot. The podcast made me laugh, reflect, and work harder during my fitness session. It was fun to hear all the familiar names too, Alessandro, PK. My only critique is that you refer to being 44 as old. Wait another 20 years and reflect back on that comment. Absolutely right, and I do go on about being old. I've just turned 45 this week, and I don't know, it's like a switch has flicked, and I'm just like, I don't know, it's getting worse. I'm not sure how I'm going to. I've got to keep going. My goal actually this season, Kurt, is to get back to some sort of semblance of decent skiing. actually quite pleased with some of the skiing that I've done early season on the glacier at Glacier 3000. We had a really cool powder day the other day, and looks like I'm moving pretty well, but I want to get my piste stuff back towards, or somewhere near towards how I used to be able to ski. So I've got a goal for this season. Anyway, Kurt goes on to say, seeing your posts from Glacier 3000, Zermatt, Saas-Fee and elsewhere make me homesick for Switzerland and Snowsports. Oh, thanks, Kurt. If we could have transported our family and US friends to Switzerland, we would still be there. Glacier 3000 brings back fond memories of training with New Gen, and of course Saas-Fee, where we first connected on the T-bar. That's right. Plus subsequent early season ski days. The mountain here, Mount Bachelor, doesn't open until 26th of November, and I missed the early season days on the glaciers to get the legs and balance back. Yes, completely agree with you, and I know that Kurt is working at Mount Bachelor, so if you're ever up there, request that guy if you're going for a lesson, or indeed just look him up, because he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. So yeah, he goes on to recommend someone that I could speak to, and I'm trying to set that up now as it goes, Kurt. Have a great season, Dave. Please say hello to friends there for me. Cheers, Kurt. Amazing to hear from you. Thank you so much. This podcast, I'm going to just run straight through. You won't hear me in the middle. It's just for your listening pleasure. I know sometimes people have a lot of dead time to kill over the Christmas New Year period, so this is something maybe that you can listen to when you're driving to go and visit friends and family and all that sort of stuff. From me here in Switzerland, and to you wherever you might be listening to this, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I wish you a great ski season. Welcome to the Christmas special of the Ski Instructor podcast. I'm here in Verbier, and I'm joined with Phil Brown, Impulse Racing, Julian Griffiths of European Snowsports.
Morning.
How are you both?
Okay, very well.
Good?
Good, yeah. Just getting ready for taking a bit of time off over Christmas, enjoying the holiday period.
We're not going
visiting some people.
Yeah.
Some parties.
We're not going to divulge what we were talking about before we went on air. And before we get into any of it, let's do the festive stuff. So I've got mince pies here, and for all of our American listeners, maybe do they have mince pies in the US? In the US and Canada, do you think they know what they are?
In the nice bits, probably.
The mince pies is weird. Like when you give these to people that are like who've never had it before, it's a real acquired taste. You try giving that to like an Italian dude or like a Swiss person, they're just like,
I'm with them.
What is this?
I'm with them.
You don't like mince pies?
I'm not a fan of mince pies.
Are they mince pies?
Yeah. They're puff pastry mince pies from Marks and Spencer's. Like they're like
Oh,
this is
really?
the only level up from this is
that
Rachel's.
looks like something that they made in Switzerland to be like.
No, it's a real mince pie.
Right.
Yeah. And I got these from a secret mince pie supplier.
The dealer, smuggler.
Was it that little shop we stopped
It's that
at
little shop, yeah.
in the summer?
Yeah. It is that little shop.
In Switzerland?
Yeah. It's in Vevey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like
It's called Bite Sized. I'll just give it a plug now. It's Bite Sized. It's owned by my friend Xanthi. And if you want any kind of British stuff, that's the place to go.
Right.
It's really good. So mince pies here, and we were going to do a secret Santa, weren't we? Like people in who work in offices and stuff do. Like I think I remember doing one like once upon a time. Work. I had a dream. Do you know what? Do you know I had a dream last night that I had a real job.
That's a nightmare.
It was really strange. I was working in a bank, and it was my first day, and I thought I'd done a really, really good job. And as I was leaving, some bloke just told me I'd done a really, really bad job, and I was like, right, well that's it then. I'm leaving.
Was that your dream?
That was my dream. Yeah, it's really strange. It was a really, really strange dream. Like I don't know what it was trying to tell me. I basically woke up
trying to tell you that you don't want to go and work for someone else.
Yeah, that's the overriding thought I woke up with.
Reinforcing that.
Yeah, you like unemployable, I think is that's where it is. It scares me.
I could see that.
Yeah, I think so.
I can identify with it as well.
Oh, when you work for yourself for a long time, I'll ask you both, right? Do you think you could go and work for anyone now?
I'll do some work for you.
Yeah, but that's
a
different.
bit different.
I regard that as like just fun. to be honest. And you send me an invoice at the end of it. But
Yeah.
like, what do you think? Like,
I think
you?
I could. Yeah, I'd enjoy it, but for a short time. I'd quite like it. After about a year, I'd come up with all sorts of ideas of how we could change things around, and I'd become unemployable. I think after that.
That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you've worked for yourself and you find these opportunities and you're able to take them without there being any restrictions on you generally, you go and work for someone and you see better ways of working, and you have to go through this whole process in order to make those changes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they go, well, no, we've always done it this way. Well, why would we want to change? So I get it. I think I would struggle in a fairly short period, especially if I saw better ways of doing things and there was restrictions on actually making those happen.
What do you think, Jules?
Oh, I think they'd be like, Julian, your job is to drop the anchor. Not to have an opinion on which anchorage we should go to. Well, all right, I'll stick with the anchor. Okay. No, I'd want to. I don't know. I always come up with lots of ideas for whatever it is. So I like working for myself.
I have this conversation occasionally with Lou, my wife.
Yeah.
I say, wouldn't it be nice to go into somewhere and work, come away and not think about it, and have your evenings and your weekends without that going on in your head? And she turned around and went, yeah, but what about if you just wanted to go away for a weekend, or you wanted to do this, or, because I get family and friends, and I'm maybe back in the UK for a period, and I'll spend an hour or 2 hours in the morning on the laptop doing some stuff for work, and they go, oh, you're always working. Well, I'm not always working. I'm spending the afternoon and evening with you guys. Yeah. But in order to do that, I've got to do a little bit. Yeah. And I'll do a little bit because I'm always able to do that wherever I am in the world. Yeah. I can visit friends. We've got friends in the States. We'll go and visit them. But actually, Europe's awake till mid-morning. Yeah. I'll do some work. Mid-morning, we go and we catch up with them. We go out in the evening. And you can do that, and you can be on the holiday, and I'll put that in inverted commas. Yeah. But you can be doing stuff that you want to do while still having work going on, which is one of the advantages. Whereas if you go and work for somebody, you've got 4 weeks, 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks if you're lucky. Yeah. Holiday time. Yeah. That you have to fit in.
And then
some of that's dictated to you.
The holidays have become more pressured then, don't they? I think. Yeah. I have some weeks in the summer with my kids, and those are great, and they're shorter than they were before, so it's a little bit more pressure to to do more, but it's cool. I think I'm happy with the way it is, but I would quite enjoy like a time like one Christmas would be quite nice to just
Christmas off.
Yeah, well, it's like things are slowing down. You hear people things are slowing down for Christmas, Yeah. Time off, and it must be nice, But for us, everything just gets busier and busier until that New Year week, and then.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I thought to myself, I looked at my diary because I had a sort of feeling in the back of my mind that I might have 3 days in a row over Christmas. I thought, I could nip back to the UK and see my family. And I looked at the diary, and of course not.
You don't want to go to the UK at Christmas.
I don't know. I haven't been for years. So I don't
fair
know
enough.
But
we used to spend Christmas with family and stuff. And actually 3 years ago, the year before all this crap hit, we decided we were going to have Christmas at home, just the three of us, Lou, myself and Charlie.
In Italy?
In Italy. We went back to the UK in early December and caught up with everybody and did early Christmas and had Christmas meals. And actually it was one of the best things we did because it was so nice just to be, because our business model is a little bit different from a ski school, and we generally don't have people out over 3 or 4 days of Christmas. Yeah. Because parents want kids to spend time with either they are out on the skiing or they are at home with the family. So we have those few days off, and actually having a really nice, quiet Christmas morning, put on your FaceTime and that just to catch up with people. But little boy opens his presents. We chill out in the morning. Catch up with some friends for a drink or a bite in the afternoon, and it's really nice. Yeah. And I think I probably wouldn't go back to the UK for Christmas.
Okay.
Now, having done it for a number of years.
Yeah.
But I think if you haven't done it for a period, probably go back and catch up people. But it's one of those, you go back and everything feels pressured to do things because it's Christmas. Whereas you go back a different time, you can have a bit more leisurely catch up with people.
I've just been there for 2 days and it is already Christmas in the UK.
There's a lot of pressure on Christmas.
Oh, it's already started.
That's so here, I think.
I was in Swaddling Coat in Derbyshire at the weekend running a dry slope race.
All the glamorous locations.
I was in Derbyshire on the weekend. Yeah.
And we walked into the town after the training evening and it was like Christmas had arrived.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm walking around going, it's still November, what's going on? But it just seems to get earlier every year.
I think so.
You know, your Christmas adverts. Now, I get the marketing for the Christmas adverts and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but you know, trees and lights and everything up in mid-November in town centres
should be banned. Since
it will be banned eventually.
Right. Secret Santa. Julian, I bring you a hat, a woolly Snowpros hat, and I give
really
you
nice.
also a woolly Snowpros hat still.
Grazie mille. Mine's not quite so flash. You can have
what's this?
A nice green buff.
Oh, have I got one of these?
No.
I didn't get one before, did I?
No.
That's beautiful.
You didn't have them here.
I'm going to put that on to do the podcast. Julian forgot the Secret Santa.
That's not true.
It is true.
Well, he has provided a lovely breakfast spread.
That is true. Yeah, he did. He did.
I have here for our podcast host.
Oh, look at this!
It's clean, I promise.
It looks used.
It's not.
It's an European Snowsports.
It's luxury. It's luxury.
European Snowsports.
Oh, wow, thank you. Oh, you got the same thing. Oh, fantastic. Impulse racing.
Didn't get you one. I've got one.
That's it. I've got about 3 million of them.
Well, good. Now, what I'd like to do. So, Phil, your ski school, ski race academy, whatever you want to call it, it's based in Pilar in Italy, and Julian, you have ski schools based in various locations. The latest of which is opening in Val d'Isère.
Val d'Isère and Maribel too.
Maribel, all the flash locations. And what I kind of want to do, is have, like, give me a sort of a state of the union kind of thing as to what skiing is going to look like in the various countries that you operate in this coming winter. We'll talk about previous winters in a minute, but this coming winter, what's on the menu?
Well, you know, I think like a lot of when we had the credit crisis in 2009, a lot of people kept skiing. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of stuff stopped. All the corporate hospitality stopped. All the a lot of things stopped. And then a lot of people were reluctant to display their wealth by going skiing in an environment where perhaps they were laying people off in their businesses, or they were working in London, people were getting made redundant, so, you know, blowing lots of money on skiing perhaps didn't look good. So there was a long period of slowness, if you like, after that. But after this, and I think this season is after this, I think things it's going to be crazy. People are going to come skiing as much as they can. I think there's a certain sort of like feeling of mortality in the air. Like people know they have to make the most of it. They're going to want to go on holiday and they don't care what it looks like, and they're alive and they can travel and let's do it. You know, and there are kids who haven't skied for 2 years, 3 years, and they'll be desperate to ski, and families who want to ski together. So I mean, you can never really tell by pre-season bookings how things are going, but ours feel really, really good and strong, and people are booking. You know, they're not just scratching around and what's this and maybe that. They're just ringing up and like, you know, let's go, let's have a ski holiday. So hopefully that's the same everywhere, and we're going to have a great season. Mm-hmm. I think from like a ski instructor point of view, you know, any individual ski instructor can only teach so much, but obviously the low season weeks are important. Hopefully they'll be good too, because the low season people, the non-family type skiers who come then, they haven't been skiing either. So I'm hoping the whole season will be pretty strong. And of course we've got other problems as well, like, which we'll come to, I think.
Yeah.
It's just like around the world, isn't it? We can't find enough employees. There are Brexit problems. There's a whole range of things that we have to deal with. But I think, like, if you look back 2 years ago, all of us perhaps had to fill in a form or two at the beginning of the season to renew a ski school licence.
Yeah.
And now we're used to just dealing with multiple problems at the same time. Big swings in work and business levels, and it's
been a lot to navigate around.
Yeah, everyone's a lot tougher.
Yeah.
Than they were 2 years ago. It's been
if they're not working.
Yeah, yeah.
I
mean, in France, I've been over there a lot the last few weeks, and people say that a big percentage of ski instructors in France have just given up, hung up their boots.
I know 2.
Yeah,
at least.
They've started something else. They've gone, it's too hard. They've flaked off, which is a shame. If they were good before, if they were enjoying it, maybe it's just hastened some retirements or career changes that were on the cards anyway. But
do I have to add them to my list? I've got a WhatsApp list that I used to share with Ben. Hi Ben, if you're listening. It was called the sellouts list, and it was ski instructors who'd given it all up to go and get a #real job.
Yeah.
Don't say it with even hashtags.
No, real job. So I'll add you give me those names, I'll add them on. But yeah, it's forced, and this is anecdotally through the industry as well. It's not just within skiing; it's in hotels, bars, restaurants. All the people that used to staff those things, and probably lifties as well. I would imagine in France, certainly, all those people have had time to go off and do something else, right? And they might not come back. Probably aren't going to come back to a sort of a seasonal thing.
I saw something similar in the UK. I spent a bit of time in Cornwall and Scilly in the summer, and they were struggling for staff, and it was mainly because of these reasons. And obviously, people didn't want to commit to half a season because by the time it got going, it was July.
Yeah.
So people who would have committed from May to September, October, had gone, well, we need to do something, we'll go somewhere else or we'll do something else.
Yeah.
So when it came time to open and start running, they were all of those holiday areas were down on staff for restaurants and bars, and places were limited on bookings. They were only opening limited evenings or lunchtimes per week and stuff like that.
Because of the lack of staff.
Because of the lack of staff. And it was purely lack of staff.
It's interesting.
That was the issue. I mean, there was another issue with getting hold of some items, menu items and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, having staff available was a big issue for all of them.
Okay. And the picture in Italy. So for this winter, I know you're not running a traditional ski school as such, and I know that you've just had some changes again. And that, well, the change, yeah.
That's a maniacal laugh, not a...
But talk about what Italy looks like for skiing. Like, what if you're someone coming to ski in Italy for a holiday or something? Like, what does it look like?
At the moment, it's looking good. The resorts are all going to open.
Yeah.
There are obviously some rules and regs in there that will allow the government to allow the resorts to open to full capacity. Certainly for holiday makers coming in without children up to the 15th of January, there is no issue apart from as long as they've got they can show vaccination or recovery or tested.
Yeah.
However, last night a new decree came out which meant that what they call the green pass, which is proof of vaccination, recovery from COVID or testing every 72 hours, is changing from 6th of December through to the 15th of January.
Right.
What that means is for entry to restaurants, bars, any indoor cultural facilities and ski slopes, your green pass must only be proof of vaccination. Proof of recovery or 72-hour testing is not sufficient to access the slopes, and that's up until the 15th. That was, I've read that this morning from the Italian government.
No Italy for you then,
last night.
It's not so much that, but I think isn't as a medical establishment, they're then saying that if you've had COVID and recovered, that's still not good enough. I mean, that's a nonsense.
Apparently so.
That denies a whole bunch of people.
I'll need to double check whether
from accessing it.
But essentially, the wording I read was yeah, which does cause some issues, because we work a lot with kids, and a lot of our kids are between 12 and 16.
Yeah.
Now, under 12s are exempt.
Yeah.
12 to 16s, UK 12 to 16s,
Yeah.
don't have a second vaccine.
No.
So they're classed as unvaccinated by the Italian government. So unless there is some kind of intervention
Yeah.
to say, well, the British government classes them as vaccinated, then they won't be able to ski. And that causes, it causes us a few issues. We're not massively busy over there. I've got other things going on. But there are, we work quite closely with British Ski Academy, who are based in Pila, who are running a race series in early January, which we help run. Then they can't have, if this applies to the letter, it means that those 12 to 16-year-old kids won't be able to come out and won't be able to take part in the race. Well, they can come to Italy, but they can't take part in the race. They can't go into restaurants, concert venues, etc., etc. Now I get the reason. The Green Pass was brought in for a reason, so that resorts can open to higher capacity. They don't have lower capacity on the lifts, or they don't have 50% capacity on the lifts, which they would have if they hadn't agreed to have the Green Pass in the resorts. So I see the reasoning behind it, but this change actually will cause some issues to all of the resorts. And the Italian government had said previously they would support the mountain regions as they supported the beach regions during the summer.
And this constant trying to nail down jelly approach to government regulation is the thing that hurts everyone the most, because you can't plan anything. If for example, for that BSA series of races, right, if they'd have known this in October, that wouldn't have been planned, and they would have taken it somewhere else.
It would have been planned, but they could have more. They may still.
Yeah.
But it's just people will have already booked to come out, and whether they'll be able to get anything back is going to be the issue, I think. I'd like to say I'm hopeful that there can be some caveat put in for these British kids, but I don't know whether it will be, because the Italians are saying, well, we're going to vaccinate our kids double, so why isn't everybody else?
What's
frustrating?
It is. What's the? Tell me about your operations in Switzerland and France. What's so we talked a little bit about what's going on, but tell me about the logistics of skiing in France, for example.
Well, we'll just see what happens.
We're still waiting on it.
Yeah, it'll open. It'll be okay.
So there's no...
The worst case scenario, I think, in both places is that some instructors won't be able to join their clients for lunch. And there are some clients where we can't allocate instructors because one or two of our instructors are refusing to take the vaccine, or any vaccine. So I'm not going to force them to. I'm not going to say we won't employ them if they don't take the vaccine. It's up to them. It's their personal choice. They just may not be able to go into restaurants with their clients. And if you look a little bit down the road, some restaurants in St Moritz and some of those places, they actually have separate rooms for the instructors anyway. I think British clients like to have their instructors with them at lunchtime, but I think like older money, European, New World, Middle Eastern, that type of, especially like fairly cultured people from poor countries, they quite like their staff on a separate table. Wealthier people from more advanced, older, more democratic countries tend to invite their instructors to sit with them. So there's generalisations there, of course, but I think for some of them they won't be able to. they came here, actually came right here, and they said, "Look, Julian, we know what you're like. You're going to be like, you all have to get vaccinated, and we're just not going to." So I said, "No, it's fine. Just do whatever you want, and we won't insist, you know."
But you'll have to work around the rules.
Yeah, you just have to work within the rules, and you might have to get tested every week, and that type of thing. And there are some ways to get them tested without having to spend too much money. So I think it'll be okay. I think we just, as a business, we're just trying to pretty much stay out of it as much as we can. And if sometimes you can't have lunch with your clients, then clients will still have a nice lunch talking to each other.
As an employer in Switzerland, you're not allowed to demand that information anyway.
Maybe, yeah.
You're just not. So that whole thing falls down, from there.
Yeah.
That's certainly something you're not allowed to ask. And then where does that leave you? If you're looking at it from the letter of the law, most people will volunteer that information if you ask them, which is also terrible, I think, that we've all got so familiar with divulging our private medical information. That seems to have just gone out of the window.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just strange
precedents
that we're setting in, but
I think it'll be okay. And we'll look back and we'll go, oh, what a nightmare that was. But then I remember on the podcast this time last year, I was saying exactly the same thing, it'll all be fine.
You did, yes.
I have great hopes for the coming year, and many of those, hopes didn't materialise.
Although,
in fact, it was a total nightmare last year. But,
to be fair, at least if you were operating in Switzerland, you were able. I mean, if you work in British holidaymakers, there would have been a big hole. But at least there was an ability to get out and get something done. And I know that I did some work with you, Dave, last year, and your clientele tend to be expats from many countries and some of the international schools. So that kind of kept you ticking over.
For sure, yeah.
And I think we've all been in a position where we're treading water over the last 18 months.
Yeah.
I think probably before that, I mean, to be opening new ski schools in the current climate, Julian, is a really good thing to be doing.
Well, I just figure, like, why not? Why not make some moves in the mayhem, while the cards are all in the air, let's bust in there.
But many people...
No, but why not?
Yeah.
If you wait for it all to settle down again, then it'll be harder than it is now.
Yeah, that's fair.
We can't do nothing for all these years.
No. And with all these businesses treading water, it's just trying to survive. It's clearly quite difficult. I mean, we introduced a bunch of stuff back in the UK last year because people couldn't get away,
and it worked.
And it's
really
carrying on this year.
Yeah,
because if they couldn't get away, and there's still a bunch of certainly in our demographic of kids that wouldn't be going away. You've got kids that go to academies that spend the whole winter away, and you've got kids that go away for a week's holiday. Yeah. And we're looking at kids somewhere in the middle, from the bottom to the middle, whose parents aren't wealthy enough to send them away for the whole season or bulk of the season, and they still want to do a lot of stuff in the UK. So that's actually, things have come out of it, certainly for us, that we've worked around the restrictions to make things happen, and it's been successful.
Yeah.
But I think there are a lot of businesses out there where they have just gone, oh well, wait, what's happening? We'll just try and survive, and I think it's a good period. Necessity is the mother of invention is the expression, and it's a good period for a lot of that innovation.
It is. Yeah, you're kind of forced to innovate, aren't you?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are a lot of people who wouldn't have even had the option to not innovate. So let's say you've got a ski school in Val d'Isère. Last year you're stuck up the end of the valley. You rely on those 600 hours or whatever you teach a year to fund you through the rest of the year. And there was
nothing.
Like nothing. You can't. It's not like you can adapt because no one's coming to Val d'Isère in the winter.
You've got to literally find something completely different.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of people who have been taken out by this whole thing, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
And probably keep their fingers crossed that a whole bunch of people coming this winter if they've made it through the year.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, I think anyone who was in France properly received their entire income from the year before. In one hit, and then some of them were even teaching. They opened the nursery slopes in Val d'Isère.
Yeah.
They had buses running people up and down. They were skiing down runs in different places. There was actually a season, sort of
sorts.
Yeah, in those places, I mean, here we had a season, but it was just, Christmas week we had Swedes because they could still travel, no Brits. New Year week, the Swedish rules changed and they stopped travelling. And we had what would normally be a bunch of groups. There was one Swedish child, one Swedish instructor, and me supervising. It was crazy. That's at the meeting point, we had privates and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. So, what did last year look like for what you might call Verbier a tourist destination? But what did last year look like for you? You obviously there must have been a whole bunch of clients who were missing that would normally have been here. I'm thinking corporate groups, people from the UK.
Yeah.
Whatever,
lots.
Yeah. What did it look like?
Just way down. Weird sort of like some people still managed to travel. They came out here, and I think you could get around it. You could come and ski. There were lots of Swiss clients. The lifts were quite busy on some days. But then a Swiss client, often good skier, doesn't take lessons. An international person around the lake, they still came. Swiss people would naturally tend towards the Swiss ski school, who were pretty busy. So yeah, we had a season in Zermatt and Verbier. We halved the size of our team, and it was still a quiet season. So yeah, it was tough.
Does that cause tensions inside the school? He's getting work and I'm not. She's getting.
Do you know what? No, I mean I was really, really humbled by our staff's reaction to the season and how they dealt with it, because everybody knew what was going on and how tough it was. And everyone was really good about it. I had a guy approach me from another school 2 weeks ago, and he was like, Julian, I'm just not happy where I was. There just wasn't any work. And I was like, dude, do you actually have you seen what's going on in the world? And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, COVID. And he was like, oh yeah, but and I was like, dude, sometimes I think, and we see this in some of our resorts, one of our resorts in particular, there's a sort of bubble, and they live within that bubble. And if they've survived in that bubble, it's like, well, what do you mean? But no, everyone did it tough last season, every school.
Yeah.
There was no one who clicked to the marketing. The Swiss school probably did the best, because they had most clients. Swiss people who would normally save a bit of money by going to France or Austria had to come here. And they were fine, or maybe they were like, oh, it's been a tough season, So without that torrent of well-heeled clients determined to have a good time coming to these resorts, it was tough for everybody, especially the restaurants. But then like you said, Mother Invention, there's a guy I know here who set up a delivery service and signed up the restaurants, and some of them were just doing loads of delivery business. And one steak, what is it? It's Steakhouse, set up a sort of an online only curry. I was a curry place, set up a steak place, set up an Italian menu. So a single restaurant could set up multiple menus in a takeaway way in which they couldn't in their physical space. So there was innovation out there. There was stuff to do, and we've lost some really good instructors over time who've just seen what's happening, and who've gone back to the UK, or they've gone to do something else, and it is a real shame for those people. We've lost one instructor to another ski school, and that person was like, oh yeah, but isn't there enough work? And you feel a little bit like saying, well, really? it's yeah. So no, everyone was pretty cool. But then you do get that thing where you're not hiring new people. Yeah. When a team doesn't have new people coming, a few new people each year. But I think this year we're not expanding the team, we're keeping it the same, but we do have a few new ones coming in who will liven it up, some really good ones and some new younger ones, and that will keep the team fresh.
That
motivated, I hope too.
It's a curious thing, isn't it? That sometimes that sort of complaining about, I don't have enough work. It's like work doesn't just. No, I'm going to go down this road. Work doesn't just magically appear out of the air.
Yeah, it does.
It
does
requires. It requires. This is so. Phil was sat in on some internal training I'm doing. So we're trying to get some training done online, which is ski instructors on Zoom is just like a disaster. Like, it's just not. But we're trying it, and just trying to make everyone aware that just the amount of effort that goes into getting that customer standing there in front of you so that you can deliver a half decent lesson,
and it has a cost as well.
It has a huge cost attached to it, and and then there's sort of multiple channels for marketing to for those clients to arrive in your funnel. Someone's got to convert the lead, then someone's got to get that sale through the process into the diary, invoiced, managed, confirmation sent, all of that sort of stuff before that person even turns up.
And all the instructor has to do is get them to come back.
Yeah, I mean,
give them a good time,
so
they want to come back and.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, if they don't come back, if you come back and are like, oh, let's just get another instructor, that's not good enough. It's like, no, you're not a ski instructor, which is what we all say.
You're quite hot on this, aren't you?
Yeah, you are their ski instructor. So, like, if I ski with someone this year, next year I want them to go, oh, let's go ski with Julian again, or let's ski with whoever it is. We want them to have a strong bond with them. We want them to connected and be part of the holiday. And we've seen as a school that those bonds vary a lot from instructor to instructor.
How do you measure that?
We measure it in terms of the value of the return bookings.
Okay.
So we put a number against each instructor. And if after three seasons, I mean, this probably sounds too generous, but if after 3 seasons an instructor doesn't have any return clients, or really are less than that, then we say to them, well, you should do something else, because but the problem often is that they come out of getting their ski instructor education, which obsesses and absorbs so much energy, and they come out of that and their heads are full of technique and da-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da, and they talk about the industry. The what?
The what?
Do they mean the travel industry?
Yeah.
The what? The travel industry, because that's what we're part of. And people come on a holiday, they are travelling, they will, the travel supplement, you're within the travel, you're a part of one type of holiday within the travel industry, and your job is to connect with those clients and make them want to come back, because if they don't come back, skiing is doomed.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of situations out there where, we put a number on it, and then we actually set the priority in our school according to how requested people are.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So
the
people at the top are the most requested. The people at the top the bottom are the least requested. Now we do that. You see, some ski schools share the work out. So they are like, we'll all give out. You, me, Dave, will start a ski school, and let's say we'll make sure we all get the same number of hours, and that's fine. But what if Dave is bringing all the clients back? You're bringing some back, and I'm bringing none back. But then I have to stop giving you work because I don't have enough hours. But that's the sort of little meritocratic Marxist thing that we've set up. So who does that favour? That favours the instructor who isn't requested. The evening out the hours system draws to it instructors who will not willingly get the clients to come back, will not do what's necessary to deliver what I should think would be the standard product. So I like to hope, and they don't always like it. Some people prefer to be in a thing where we're all brothers and it's all the same level, and it is a little bit internally competitive. To be honest, not too much. If you're half decent, you'll get some requests, and people move up and down. So hopefully our system is, while it's competitive, it does draw in the good ones. So a young, good instructor can join our school and move to the top. There are details within it. There's the Paton group, there's a non-Paton, various other details, and some clients don't qualify for the points, as it were. But so hopefully our system draws in the ones who are good, and then your position in the school is set by how good you are.
It incentivises people.
Yeah, it's set by how good you are, not how much I like you or Laura likes you or whatever it is. So it's hopefully a meritocratic system.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking on this particular subject, so I think that's an important one.
So if you're not very good, go and work somewhere else.
Well, yeah. Or you run, a really flat management structure like I do, where no one really knows who's in charge and who's not. With you're heavily involved within the Irish Association of Instructors, Phil, and you, within that, obviously it will go through. Julian just talked here about, like, you know, instructors pop out the system at whatever level and their heads are full of technical info.
Yeah.
Where's the info within the instructor systems on things like that? Like how to get a client to return, how to look after a client really well, the marketing angle, how to promote yourself to people. Like, there is, as far as I remember, there isn't any of that.
I don't think it's. I hesitate to use the word taught, but I don't think it's part of what is learnt by instructors in most pathways. I suspect the American pathway, it may well be.
Yeah, I can well imagine.
But in most other pathways, I don't think so. I believe the newest or the latest full manual with IASI, there was a chapter written, and I don't know if it's completed yet, by Pete Gillespie from the Snow Centre on the customer experience.
Hi, Pete.
And I think that
Legend.
not many people, like Julian said, they come through and they don't even think about that side of things. They also get way too technical to start with.
I think everyone does, doesn't they?
But because they've been through a system, whatever system it is, where they've had to show that technical knowledge and expertise. However,
you need that.
When you need to have it, but it needs to be back here.
Yeah.
And when you're in front of somebody, you only keep it simple.
You do. It's about trying to teach the simple things.
You don't need to show your client how much you know. How much you know comes out by how you improve their skiing.
Yeah.
And how good a time they have.
Yeah.
And that's far more important. I mean, we probably all know instructors who have only got, they may be hobby instructors, they get to level 2, but they're very, very good working with people.
Yeah.
You know,
I've got a couple.
Yeah. And I know level 4s who are maybe not so good with people.
Yeah.
We picked up a guy 2 years ago. He comes from a teaching background. He was working with Interski in the Valley, and I talked to some of these guys who were out for most of the season doing bits with Interski, sort of middle-aged guys who had managed to retire early or were making their life something different. And got chatting to him, and it turns out his life experience was within education for pupil referral unit. And he was brilliant with people, and still is. Sorry, he's still around. So he's very good with people, and we always get some really good feedback when he works. I mean, in the UK or out here with our groups. So that, to me, is more important than, obviously, provided they're qualified to work where they're working. That's way more important to me than how much technical knowledge they're able to spew out, because that's not that. As long as they know it, to the extent they need to, it's how they bring it out to the client or athlete, and how they then make changes in that person's skiing and give them a good time while doing it.
People often develop. It would be easy to say, well, it's down to their personality, and it often is. You have people who are great fun, funny, super sociable, and they'll be really successful. And then you have people I've noticed over the years who are pretty boring, who develop a sort of teaching persona, which is more fun and easy to deal with and easygoing than their normal, natural social.
Oh God, you're talking about me.
No, it's true.
It's true.
I had one instructor once who had this person had, I don't want to reveal who, has a Scottish person to deal with in any work meeting or whatever, and it was quite rigid and static and quite not a bundle of laughs. It's not like we're going to laugh a bit in the warm up of the meeting, and then we're going to deal with the thing and then have a good laugh at the end, and we'll get to where it would be straight to business.
It's not
finish.
PK, is it?
Well, it's not. It's not. But I mean,
that was harsh.
Sorry, PK. Yeah.
Peter is. He is like. He is a bit like that when you speak to him. He's a bit. His human skills sometimes you're left feeling a little bit like, oh, Peter. But when you listen to him teach, actually, he's like he's a bundle of laughs.
Absolutely. I think he's a bundle of laughs anyway.
So do I. I'm a big fan.
You've got to see through that gruff Scottish facade.
Yeah, so I think the point I was trying to make is that you don't have to be like think of if you don't feel like you've got an alternative career in stand-up comedy, that doesn't mean you can't be a super good client instructor.
I'm thinking the more this really struck me when we had Zoe was actually like your worldview changes slightly of teaching kids. It's not about like I'm here to make this kid better. It's like this. Once you have that kind of world experience of that particular thing, you realise actually, especially with kids teaching, I think, and I've really taken this on board in the last few years. It's like, now we're here to make sure that this kid like falls in love with skiing first and foremost. This is not about me telling you that you've got to be there on this ski and you've got to be doing the right thing and you've got to push it this time and all that sort of stuff, right? It's not about that. And a lot of teaching isn't about that. A lot of teaching is about trying to... I remember talking to Jazz about this and he was saying, looking for the most simple thing that he could do with a client skiing that would help them get more out of the mountain. It ain't about me jamming you with technical info for 3 hours. It's about me saying, this thing here that I'm going to tell you is the easiest way for you to get more out of your skiing for less effort. And you'll have a better time as a result. And on the lift, we're not even going to talk about tech, we're just going to chat about what's going on in your life. And we are not, there is an emphasis, I think, in the instructor systems on tech, but there certainly isn't, in certain instructor systems, there is certainly not enough emphasis on how to be a great host on the mountain and to introduce that client to your world, where you live. And it's, I think it's a big miss, actually. Certainly for employers, when you're sitting around here around the table thinking, right, who are we going to have for this year? That's already hard enough with one of the topics that we're going to go on to, like trying to find staff. But secondly, it's like now it's going to be, okay, now I've found some staff. Are those people going to be really, really good when I present them in front of the client? Because at that point, as an employer, the lesson is out of your control. So up to that point, you kind of, the sales process, the funnel to get the clients into your sales process, the booking process is all controllable to a certain extent. Yeah. But then, once they arrive in front of your in front of your teacher, if he's turning up hungover, he's had a bad day, or he's round with his missus or whatever, then it goes out of your control. It's up to them to deliver a decent session, irrespective of how they're feeling on that day, because that person's paid a fortune for it. It's a lot of money to have a ski lesson.
Yeah.
Don't really know I'm going at that point. I'm just ranting.
It's
That point you were saying about looking at what can you do, the simplest thing you can give them, change your skiing. It's interesting because last season when I came and did some work with you, and I had a few private lessons. I hadn't.
Yeah, a lot of private lessons.
I did do a few, but I hadn't been in the teaching clients environment for a number of years.
Yeah.
All my stuff is working with bringing young coaches through and working with athletes, and that's what we do. We look for, and that's what I did on those lessons. What is the easiest, what's the easiest win?
Yeah.
What can I give you that's going to help you with the least effort and give you the most out of these 3 hours I've got with you? And I'll be honest, I think that's probably the way that everybody should look at it. You go for the easiest way to improve how they're skiing, and don't throw tons of stuff at them.
But is that taught anywhere? I never remember hearing anything like that when I was going through various.
It should be, yeah.
I mean, we go through stuff where we talk about TP, which for those uninitiated is another acronym. One of the hundreds of acronyms we use, which stands for technical, tactical, physical,
something,
psychological, equipment, and environment.
Oh,
so you instead of shouting out,
fun TPF,
but I have to teach it to people. But so what you're doing is rather than throwing technical. And I always say to people coming through that are coming through courses that I'm running, technical is the rookie coach's default.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is, because they want to show how much technical knowledge they have.
Yeah.
Whereas you need to forget using any technical knowledge with many clients.
Mm-hmm.
You always get the ones that want it, and work with the other 5 elements. You know, tactical, like the line you take, the environment, the slope you're on, the conditions you're skiing them in. You know, you can ask somebody to perform a task, and by changing the environment or by changing the parameters of it without giving any technical feedback, you can make great changes in their skiing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without talking about exactly what they're doing and where they're pressuring the ski and all of that stuff. There's no need for it with many, many clients.
Yeah.
I mean, as I say, as long as you understand what you're doing, and why it's happening, and I've worked with people that I question whether they understand why it's happening, but you know, it's it gives a better experience for the client, because they're not having to think about, I need to do this exact movement here, and they're just performing the task, and actually by moving the parameter of the task, you're improving them, and they can feel that.
Yeah. Anything to add to that?
No, nothing. I've listened to some of the other podcasts you've done with people talking about technical stuff, and it's fascinating. I don't do so much of the instructor training as I used to. I used to do a lot of it. I still do some. But I think, you know, you can't... Sometimes people come and they're like, talk to me and they're like, wow, Jay, I'm not really comfortable. You know, we have this system where we rank them by how requested they are. And I said, well, really, it's the most important thing. And they're like, yeah, but I don't really feel comfortable like selling myself. And you know, you don't have to sell yourself. You just have to give them a good time. Yeah. And then they will automatically come back. You know, I mean, if selling yourself means at the end of the lesson you say, hey, I love teaching you, if you'd like to do this again tomorrow afternoon, I'm free, or if I'm not free, someone else is, or whatever, then that really isn't, there's really nothing about that. But I think like skier analysis, customer focus are the key things, and without that you enter a sort of tradition where, let's say we don't teach skier analysis or customer service to a whole generation of gappies, and then 10 years later one of those gappies is, or 3 or 4 of those gappies are examiners. What are they going to introduce? Only what they've learnt, plus the bit of experience they've had since. Yeah. So your starting point is no longer based on a rigorous thing. So
well, especially when aren't we already seeing that though? Aren't we already seeing that a little bit, where there's so much focus on performance, gap performance, level 3-4 gap performance? It's like, where is the gap for learning how to teach effectively?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard balance, isn't it? Because you can't.
There isn't.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. There isn't.
It's really interesting.
Go on.
It's really interesting, coming from a completely different background. And it's very clear that if you're teaching high-level clients, you need to be able to ski to a high level. But there's a fantastic example of he's been retired a few years now, but you guys will know of Victor Kostelic. If you've ever seen his dad ski, who was his coach and who was coach for the team, the Croatian team, he's awful. But his knowledge and his ability to get performance out of those skiers was immense. Yeah. And there are other coaches like that.
You see in football, soccer, a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I know we're talking about coaching and instructing slightly differently there, but you know, as long as you can ski to the level of the level slightly above your client, if you've got that knowledge and that ability to analyse their skiing and give them, going back to what we said earlier, what's the simplest thing I can do to make you better? If you can analyse that and do it, then that makes you. It doesn't matter how good a skier you are. Yeah. I mean, there are some great skiers. There's been some great racers, certainly British ones, that have stepped into coaching and they've not been so good at coaching. But there's an assumption sometimes, I think, that the better a skier you are, the better a teacher or coach you are.
There's an also there is an inspiration factor, isn't there?
There's that. There is that to it. Yeah.
You know, we've had some ex-Olympians work for us, and just that fact alone is a buzz. You know, for the instructors. And
for sure.
They were good coaches too, but it does have a certain. We had one lady work for us from the 1970. Olympics, I think. She was really cool, like a Swiss legend, brilliant. For me it was anyway, I was like, wow, cool.
Stars in your eyes.
The teaching stuff and the skiing stuff, I'll give you another good example. Like, if you were in charge of the training body now, or BASI or something like that, you have to have a balance. So we've got a 10-15 day period of training. Are we going to make them do teaching all the time? And then you've got the nuts and bolts of keeping a group safe, a progression to follow, a basic knowledge that someone can then take off and begin a career with. You've got to get that in there. And you've also got to produce people who can ski to a minimum level. And the level, the hard thing, isn't it? I mean, talking to an Italian instructor 2 weeks ago, and he was like, well, I'm an Italian race coach. I mean, I did the basic instructor qualification years ago, and then I did my high-level coaching afterwards. The basic qualification, he just waved away, like, is his maestro de ski, which is the level 4. Which to anyone in, it's a lot of like big fish, small pond type thing. For that guy, he's like one of the coaches in Italy, and he's lifted himself up above from the pool of just standard instructors. But a standard instructor in Italy, is equivalent to our level 4, which is a really high status qualification within some communities. And then, a level 2, a level 2 in our system, who goes to work on a tiny dry slope somewhere, where everyone, say, has done a shorter qualification with Snowsport England or Scotland or whatever, they will be one of the best qualified people there. So you do have these different levels. But if you were in that position and you were trying to design a thing, you have to say, well, how well do they have to ski, and how much time do we have to spend on teaching? And with the skiing stuff, I've been just joking around for years with people. I make these jokes and I'm trying to sort of work out what it is I'm saying. But in a level 1 course, a basic, your worst instructor. So look at the people that your pathway produces each year, and answer the question: should they be able to do a parallel turn?
Go on, let's go. Yeah. Keep going.
With that qualification. So, a parallel turn is like a basic manoeuvre. And I had actually some people here for a meal in the winter, and there were 3 examiners from 3 different systems. And afterwards, we were on the whiskies, and I said, "Come on, can you?" Doesn't sound like a very fun night, does it? Can you? should your level 1s? Do your level 1s have to be able to do a parallel? And everyone's started looking at the floor and feeling awkward, because I know that they let there's a bit of a heel swing or something going on, and people who do that consistently can't do a parallel and pass. And I think that there has to be a certain minimum level of magic that all instructors should have. And if you set the entrance point too low, you will lose. It won't be attractive to potential employers. Like for me, I think you have to be a strong parallel skier. I mean, if people, hopefully not too many public skiers here, we don't employ level 1s, or we try and go for higher levels, 3s, 2s with experience, 3s and 4s. But for the very first level, they should be a skier. I went 15 years ago, for a meeting with the head of one of the European ski instructor associations, and he said to me, he made the criticism of my association. He said, "It's not an association, it's a ski school pretending to be one." And I was shocked. And what he meant is that he got feedback from Swiss people saying these groups come past who are trainee instructors, but they can't be instructors because they're not parallel. Now you go to Argentina and go to Argentina at the end of the season in September, watch their courses running from the very first level. And I've been there and seen this. The very first level, they're all parallel, narrow stance, arms in a good position. Now, it's slightly positional approach, but that's just their thing, so that's okay. But they're all consistent, centred, 3 joints flexed, over the skis, arms out. They all look like ski instructors. Is that something that's not valid anymore? Should we all just be waving our arms around and stemming into every turn? I don't think so. I don't personally think so, and I think that if I put a uniform on someone, then they should first turn. They should look like a ski instructor. And by that I mean something that if someone was to follow them and copy them, which happens a lot, they would be copying something good. They'd be copying the elements of a good skier are visible to them immediately. From level 1 upwards.
I totally agree with you. I'd like to defend the arm flappers because I'm one of them. But
maybe an inside arm drops slightly on some turns. Just slightly.
Yeah. Just like that's okay for you.
That's okay for me.
I know I'm a real. I look like Big Bird.
But isn't elbow above the neck is like mouth open.
The thing is, once you've passed all your exams, you just do whatever the hell you want.
Unless you want to look like a ski instructor.
Yeah. Oh, is there a difference between a ski instructor and a ski school boss?
Well, you look at
ski instructors can normally ski better than ski school boss.
Absolutely. But when you go to France and you go to Italy, our neighbours here, you cannot get into the ski instructor formation system in France without doing the test technique.
Yeah.
You have to ski slalom, proper slalom at a high level. In Italy, as I understand it, to get into it, you have to be skiing...
Eurotest.
The Eurotest is their point of entry.
Yeah.
So, isn't it fair to say, and I'm in Gap Central here in Verbier, right?
Well, only temporarily while the rest of the world comes, you know.
Isn't it the case that maybe the... Yeah, go on, I'll say it. The bar isn't high enough, 1. 2... someone's making money out of convincing people that they're ski instructors. When actually, arguably, a lot of those people are going around calling themselves ski instructors, but they're actually not skiing or teaching at a halfway decent level.
If at all.
Yeah. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Are we then handing over people's children to those people and saying, there you go, there's your ski instructor? He's a ski instructor because he's dressed in this uniform. I'm not either.
I'm not.
But
you've got to ask the question. Certainly at level 1 and a little at level 2. What are those people going to do? Now, with level 1, that qualifies them to work in a closed environment. So in the UK, on a dry slope or on an indoor centre. Now, you can put all the parameters you want on a qualification, even if you put parameters that you can only teach up to basic parallel. But those businesses within the UK, certainly the indoor centres, will use, their business model is such, they'll use the lowest qualified, sort of instructors in terms of cost, if they can, because they won't pay more for a level 2 or a level 3. They'll have a standard wage structure just for an instructor. So a level 1 could be teaching someone who can ski parallel quite well. So they need to be skiing at that level. Yeah. Because like Julian rightly says, even if they explain something and demonstrate something that looks slightly different, their clients are gonna copy what they see more likely than what they've been told. Yeah. And we say this all the time with candidate coaches coming through. Even when you're just free skiing with your group, think about your form on the hill and how you ski. Yeah. Don't be lazy.
Look like an instructor.
Because look like a good skier.
Yeah, respect the jacket.
Because your group will, whether it's intentional or whether it's subconscious, they will watch you and things you do, they will copy. So it's really important. So going back to the level 1, yes, it should be higher because you know that if they do work in those kind of environments, the likelihood is they will get a client who is a half decent skier, and they need to be able to ski at that level.
Now, I wonder though whether this will provoke. I bet you I'll get 1 or 2 emails from people saying, "Oh, you're denigrating the level of the 1 and 2s." You know, people who've got level 1s and 2s, and I was a level 2 once, and all that sort of stuff. Well, someone had to give me my start in the industry, but that surely, I don't think that those people would necessarily argue that with me. Wouldn't you want to be the best at,
it's important for those people that those levels are kept pretty high.
Yeah.
And that people,
and it's something worth attaining,
right?
The
standard is consistent, and that it's a lot to get, if you've got 3 weeks to get someone to a level 1 or 2, it's a lot of stuff to get in there, and then you have after that a basic instructor who can start a career and won't can teach a lesson. Can go into a ski school, operate, teach a lesson, and be successful. The whole what level are you thing is less important than people think when they're in it. How they teach, how the clients respond. I mean, if you were coaching, how your athletes perform is pretty highly measured, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just a do they come back to that resort and book through that ski school again. You can measure it in a very precise way with FIS points and so on, or BAS points or whatever.
But I would take you back to the point of the kind of the GAP program sausage machine, where you're pushing people through this kind of thing. They're coming out the other end, but there'll be certain people who come out with their level 2 who go on to be successful instructors. I'm one of them, so I'm not denigrating that by any means, but as I was going through it, I thought to myself, this isn't enough. Yeah. There certainly isn't enough teaching. You can go all the way through to a basic level 4, having only done 400 hours of 470 hours of ski school experience, which is nothing. And
that's one of the key semantics here. Ski school experience.
Yeah, real experience. I mean, you've got to start. Everyone's got to start somewhere. I get that, but what I think you can prepare people better to be good instructors for people that you might we might want to employ, as opposed to how it stands now. It's like someone presents themselves to you. I've got a level 2. I'm like, okay, you're taking a risk effectively on the interview that you do with that person as to whether you think they're going to have the magic.
And I think it's very good that people who work in Switzerland and people who work in real ski schools can get to. When I say that, I mean not people who work in, say, France, where it's basically impossible, very difficult to employ anyone. Mm-hmm. So if you're employing instructors and you're looking at their real world performance and what skills they come with, that's a great place to be an examiner.
Yeah.
Because you can then look at people and go, okay, would this person perform? If you're working in Val d'Isère and you're independent and you're not employing anyone, and they're never going to be able to work for you for at least another 7 years, or however long it takes them to complete the courses and the tests, then it's easy then, I think, to veer off in shiny objects, spurious directions that are not necessarily. I mean, I don't want to sound like an old cudgel, but I think it's important, like to keep the standards up.
Yeah.
And even if you were allowed to STEM 10 years ago on your, and it started about then on your level 2, it doesn't mean like that we can. You can't change that and you can't improve that. And if that means more people don't pass or the level is maintained more strictly, that is not worse. It's more fair.
Yeah.
And it's more supportive of the people who've been through before, and it actually over time makes the thing more desirable,
valuable.
Yeah.
So. It's I wonder if there isn't I probably should just write this down for myself, but there's probably an argument for running your own kind of internship kind of thing. Because like you put it out there and say, if you are a young person out there and you are very serious about getting into the industry, contact me, but be prepared to come and spend a season shadowing.
Yeah.
Right, and learn your trade before you go off and you do, learn your craft, and we'll sponsor you maybe through your exams, and you commit to working for us for 5 years or something like that. Like if you're, but I don't know how many people there are out there like that.
We're kind of moving on. We're kind of erring onto something you and I have spoken about.
Yeah.
A little bit there. I mean, when I was coming through coaching, I was working in industry, and I did a lot of my coaching on the side, and I went away and I worked for nothing.
Yeah.
Expenses, and you're finding, as we move forward in time, less people willing to do that.
Oh, you're about to do the grumpy old man. All young people are entitled.
There are some, but you find everybody wants paying top dollar for, even if they've got no experience, or lower level qualifications. And I think so it becomes more difficult to attract people to do something like that, which will give them so much more than a couple of paid weeks in a season.
I thought when I got into this, place where I am now, I thought I'd be getting messages and stuff from people saying, "Hey, I'm looking to get into the industry. Is there anything?" Like, nothing to get anything like that. I just get half-assed emails and badly spelt CVs and stuff.
And what's the pay rate?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like it's a shame.
But I mean, you can.
But the industry doesn't support it. That's
No.
the only thing, because you can't make a living annually out of it. So you've got to, while you're swimming around in the lower levels, you have to do a summer-winter thing.
Yeah.
And so it's not everyone wants to do that.
It is really hard to make a good living out of ski instructing, whether you're in France or in outside France, because France, just for your listeners who don't understand, is very highly regulated, and it's almost impossible. Only a very tiny proportion of all the people who want to become ski instructors can work there.
Mm.
It is even hard there because, the average client skiing won't realise that when they turn up in a peak week, say you turn up in New Year week in any resort, 3 weeks before, there was no snow, no skiing, often, no staff, and the whole thing has been put together for those
as it
busy
is
weeks.
now, right?
As it is now, yeah. Exactly. So in 3 or 4 weeks' time, it'll be absolutely rammed and winter wonderland.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks after you go home with your kids and they're all back in school, there might be some people coming, but there won't be that many. So all these people who are looking after you, they have been organised for these periods. So, when people go, how can I have an instructor tomorrow afternoon? Well, like there's someone just standing around with the qualifications and skills to look after you and your kids safely. There are, and that's where the ski schools come in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where being independent is hard. It's harder for if the resort has a lot of independence, and that's great for the independents, it actually makes it quite, there's a demand for ski lessons and there's a supply of ski instructors. What is the most efficient way to make that happen? It's probably several medium-sized ski schools competing with each other for all bits. I mean, if you...
Not 24 like there is in Verbier.
No, there's only really 4 or 5 here.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, there's only really 4 or 5. More people have licenses, but often they're basically independent or 2 or 3 guys together.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of people who do, who can offer like a range of stuff, there's 5, 6. Some proper, main ski schools, and the rest, there's hockey stick. There's a few big ones. Yeah. One really big one, the Swiss one, and then poof, and it goes down. And those other ski schools are great. They've got their niches and whatever. But you're looking at learning a lot about, say, Val d'Isère and those places. Big incentive to go independent. If you're a ski instructor there, why not? You have your clients in the peak weeks. You get all the money, nearly all of it, and you can make hay. But a lot of people still want to work for a ski school because it is a better way to fill up the
and
the
not
days
everyone
and
wants to search for their own work, right?
Yeah, not everyone wants to do that, and it does turn, I think, into a little bit of a popularity contest. Like someone was describing the situation in Maribel to me, and this guy said there are some people who are working in teams with certain chalets which are Courchevel, Maribel, which are owned by very wealthy clients from the Middle East and stuff, and they're all charging 1,000 a day. And then there's like a range, and it goes down to the guy who is charging 300 a day, and you can book him on the Monday of New Year week, and he's either very shy, very uncommercial, or very bad. So, like when I say in my newsletters, book early, because the people like looking for a new instructor for New Year week. This now 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away is really hard. It's like nearly impossible. A month away, and the clients understand that. Here they book much later. There they book much earlier. It is.
Going back to just a little bit before that, do you ever come across in your travels around the UK dry slope scene? Do you come across like promising young coaches, people that could make it in the industry with like a bit of a mentorship thing? I mean, this is a real thing that we could take on, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Where we say to people, if you are interested in if you're out there listening to this and you're interested in getting into the industry and you're serious about it, write to me or write to Phil. I can put your hand up
Well, we've
because you know they're the sort of people we'd all really like to hear from, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, once I've taken the cream for coaching,
yeah,
you can have the others. Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking all the best clients.
If you want to get up at 5 a.m. in Sass Vale, floodgates up and down,
setting a course under floodlights in
Maribel
for the
ski
British
room
Camps.
and go for a late lunch.
No thanks.
Well, yes, and that's why we worked with IASI to introduce the school's level 1 instructor course.
You
know, there is a drop-off rate at 16 or so of kids who are doing ski racing, and some of them, their parents have spent a small fortune getting them to a really good standard of skiing. Okay, they're never going to get to the World Cup, but their level of skiing is way
they can do a parallel turn.
They can do a parallel turn, yeah, and really? some of them not a bad parallel turn.
Sign them up.
Yeah. Where are you?
So we introduced that they can do at 15, and they get their license at 16. So we basically on the back of the same kind of thinking that you've got there. We've since introduced an assistant instructor's course to give them some knowledge at 14, which is 2 days.
Yeah.
But yes, the simple answer is yes. 30 kids have qualified through that in the first year we've run it.
Okay.
So there are.
There's 30 kids there at least that
there
are
is for sure an appetite for that within the UK, and it's something we're looking to build on.
That could be. We could do something there, couldn't we?
Yeah.
We could do like a program between us somehow.
Yeah.
If only the Brexit passports weren't getting in the way of all of that stuff.
Should we move on to?
I just
Brexit?
don't.
I think this is the most.
Do you really want to talk about Brexit?
It's been said now, so
it's come back. It's come back to haunt us.
The word's been said.
Yeah, it's been
it never went away. It was just hidden.
Right, here we go. I'll put my cards on the table. I've lost 1, 2, 3, 4. Last year I had a great team, best team I've ever had. Would have had exactly the same this year, and I've lost. 4, 3 or 4 people as like high quality people that I would want on my team.
And Grant. Hi,
Grant.
Sorry.
Mean. What does it mean about your instructors? I love all mine.
He's and everyone loved Grant last year as well. And all these guys can't come anymore, right? Because of Brexit. And these decisions are being made at much higher levels than me, but it's a crying shame.
I don't know about you, but my thought on why this has happened, the French basically said no short-term work permits, or made it difficult to get short-term work permits.
Yeah.
The Swiss looked at that and went, there's going to be a glut of British qualified ski instructors and they're going to come here.
Yeah.
So the Swiss went, no short-term work permits. And the Italians have just gone, well, we haven't got a process, so we're not going to put one in place now. So the Italians don't have a process in place. I suspect they will. I also suspect within a couple of years, things will level out. There will be processes in place, and that can happen. But I think during that time, we're going to lose people from the instruction and coaching industry because they can't wait it out without having some kind of income. There'll be the lucky ones who can go and work within the parents' business temporarily and come back. Grant would possibly be one of them. But there'll be the others that have to go and get a job, and that is just an unfortunate fact of life because of Brexit.
Now, I know you've been thinking about this for many years and seen it coming.
I've been trying. Well, here,
despite warning me, I didn't take any notice of it. But
that's very kind of you.
It's very nice of you to do that. But you've been planning this in Verbier for a while, but it's affected you, I hear, more in Zermatt.
Oh, how did you know that?
Well, it's a small world.
It is true. We're a bit more Brexit-proofed here than we were in Zermatt. We've lost again, like you in Zermatt. We've lost some good instructors.
All right. Ready?
Yeah. So if I ask Steve a question, can I be a co-host?
No, you can't be a co-host. Save that.
So we're here in Verbier with my co-host Dave Burrows.
Stop it. Now,
can I be co-something?
No, you can't be co-host.
Go on.
You are under the misunderstanding that there's some sort of democracy going on here.
Yeah, my co-host and I will introduce Steve Hindman. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
So the knock on the door was Steve, and Steve has popped round to Julian's house. Do you want the milk?
Yes, please.
It's okay to say if you want the milk. This
Thank you
is
very much.
a live thing. Steve's working for you this season.
That's
here in
regular.
Verbier.
That's regular cow milk. Is that okay?
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Soy milk. Steve's working for you,
You
in
can't,
Verbier.
you can't use
this
soy
winter.
anymore. I went into a cafe in London. They were like, "Oh no, you don't have soy.
Oh.
We have oat or almond."
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. Move on.
Places I hang out. They're not.
Soy is.
Don't do that.
Yeah. That was 2 years ago.
So, Steve, welcome to the Christmas special.
Well, thank you.
Surprise guest. Now, what brings you to Switzerland? I know you just told me, but tell everybody else.
Well, my wife has come here to work for an NGO in Geneva, and I took the advantage to look for a teaching job in Verbier, and I found this guy on your podcast and loved his philosophy about teaching.
Can't believe it.
This guy
As it's
being
now
Julian.
a recruitment podcast.
I am single as well.
Have you put your invoice in for commission?
I know. It depends how much he's paying. He's probably
Finder's
paying-
fee.
Not paying very much. You know,
Yes,
Julian's-
£1 per hour that Steve teaches.
Well, you pay him according to what the US ski resorts pay their staff.
I think that's respectful and fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
£1 an hour till he proves himself.
Yeah.
Except I was teaching at Telluride.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, see.
Okay.
See, so they pay
Even less.
I'm just going to jump back one step, back to something we were talking about in the first bit, especially now that Steve's here, because we were talking about customer relations within ski school formation, or ski school formation and national ski instructor associations. So awareness of things like marketing, customer care, all of that sort of stuff, and the general conclusion that we were rattling on about, 3 grumpy old men in a room, was that there's not enough, and there's too much focus on technique over and above the client experience. Within the PSIA, how does that look? How much focus is there on that guest experience during the PSIA formation as you go through the various levels?
Oh, okay, as you go up through the
pyramid,
right. Well, in the last 2-3 years, maybe a little more, but it started about 3 years ago, a whole new focus on people skills. So part of the exam now is just there's tech, there's skiing, there's teaching, and there's a whole, there's a fourth one, but there's a whole very big focus on people skills.
Okay.
And so there's manuals now to support it. There's clinics to support it. I don't know what the current exam, how it does it.
Yeah.
How it's incorporated in that, because that's always the hard thing. How do you
examine people skills, right?
Right, exactly. And how do you tell someone didn't make
you got no people skills.
Yeah. And then document it in some objective way.
The Ski Club of Great Britain used to have a drinks party assessment on their.
Oh, come on!
Yeah, on
how well you could.
This is a ski club that used to install reps into all the resorts.
Okay.
And they offer like a social ski program, and it draws in the resorts, put them up and give them a lift pass. And they, on their reps course that they used to do, at the end they would have this drinks party, and there'd be people in amongst the crowd who were secret assessors, and they would have to hobnob for the evening, pre-dinner drinks, I think, and you'd be assessed on your
hobnobbing.
On your hobnobbing, on your social skills. And to be fair, I mean, it's a way to do it, wasn't it? I mean, very weird. I mean, see people actually trying to do that. I mean,
And this was at what age? What years?
Oh my God, these people are mostly.
No, I mean, what was it? The 70s, 80s?
No, this is up until a few years ago, I believe.
I just asked because I come from the cross country, the Nordic background.
Yeah.
We called ourselves as part of the Nordic demo team, and we prided ourselves as bringing festival into PSIA, being that our cliniques, our exams were done more as a festival. In other words, why do people go skiing? To have fun, right?
Yeah.
So then why should not the instructor training, instructor examining process be about a festival? And but then you started to realize the people running the festival were also assessing your festival, your ability to be a festival person.
Your festivalness.
A festivalier, whatever.
Really?
Which was very effective, and it helped shape the culture.
Yeah.
But then as it got more and more, we were always the outsiders, because what was Nordic, people, the PSA just tolerated us, and then we got incorporated, and then pretty much we got structured into it, and the festival got.
And this was an event that you had to go to, and
it was just kind of how it was more the attitude of the whole PSA Nordic contingent, if you will, led from the top by a very influential guy named Tony Forrest, who had a big influence on this.
And what, just to take you back one step, within that sort of customer relations part of what they were talking about, what sort of things do they talk about within that?
Well, it's just a matter of truly letting people feel comfortable with who they are at the moment, wherever they're at, instead of trying to be somebody they're not. Be that being a customer or an instructor.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to be someone else, you're not really being who you are. You're not giving everything you can give.
Yeah.
And you also can't learn if you're trying to be. If you think you should be a certain way or do things a certain way until you realize where you're at. It's like the old analogy of a map. A map is completely worthless unless you know where you're at.
Yeah.
As was proven by Google getting me here. Google had no idea where I was at in Peru.
No one can find it. No one can find the eagle's nest.
You managed to find it. I was surprised.
Okay, so then they put the learner, well, I guess, at the centre of everything.
For sure.
A lot of instructor associations say that they do that, but that's not what I see in the manuals at all. I see a lot of tech.
You've got to have that in there.
Yeah, you have. We agreed that earlier. You have to have the tech, but the what is the client's kind of? This is a new thing. Where is the client right now?
When I was examining ski instructors, I often wanted to have an additional box for personality, because there were some people I had to fail who I knew would be great instructors, but they were perhaps skiing wasn't there yet or something. And there were other people who had all the ticks in the boxes of skiing and a bit of knowledge and stuff, but they were just not. They were just not going to work or gel with the clients. They were too. In an objective way, they were okay, but
no, we've all met people like that, right?
It's hard.
What are you in this for?
Yeah, how do you?
I mean, the question
that's
always asked, I think, very hard to answer is: can you teach someone? Can you help someone develop that, or do they have it? Do they walk in and have it?
Yeah.
And then you develop the teaching skiing technical side.
Yeah. Are you able to relate to people? Is that a learnable skill?
Yeah. I know that when I first started teaching,
yeah,
many years ago,
1954.
Yeah, 1984.
When everything was new.
1984. Wow.
So I'm much older than Nordic.
So you drove up in your white Ferrari Testarossa.
I wasn't driving at times. I hadn't passed the test.
That's the year Dave was born.
I'd gone skiing with the school at 12, skied 2 days, hurt my ankle, didn't ski again.
Yeah.
Applied for a job as a trainee ski instructor at my local dry slope in Harlow, which is now a housing estate, and went along and got taken on. Clearly not on my skiing ability. So, I mean, later, my boss at the time, this guy called Mike Hammond, who is still teaching in his early 70s in Morzine. One leg, yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, I know that guy.
What a legend.
Yeah. He said to me, we took you on because we thought you would work with people and we can teach you to ski.
Yeah.
So that's quite an interesting sort of anecdote to throw in what you're talking about. It's I think people can be taught or developed. Let's not say taught. They can be developed. But I've certainly met some people that it would be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to do so over the years.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think you went the other way at Telluride a couple of years ago because the problem there is housing. So we'd have people go through we call it snow college. They get offered a job. They couldn't find work. They couldn't find housing. And now there's 15 people that we hired that can't work.
Yeah.
So we offered people housing. We offered the job early, and then based on personality and interview, brought them on, and it kind of worked, but more than you'd think. Like, oh, actually, you can't ski, and you're not going to be able to ski within this year. enough to even teach what we thought. So it can go the opposite way.
Okay. There needs to be a blend.
I heard about a guy in Ireland who ran the dry. Just a rumour I heard about the dry slope in Ireland, where each year they would take on, say, 12 instructors, and this guy took on, instead of taking on 12 keen skiers like you normally would and putting them on the basic course and turning them into instructors, he took on 6 people like that who were regular skiers, and he took on 6 people who were professional salesmen.
Oh yeah?
Like from local companies, taught them to ski, put them on the ASSI, whatever, level 1, the entry level course, and then put them to work. And he had his, beginner class level 1, had his 3, and his return rate was much, much higher.
Really?
It's just a story I heard once. I haven't been able to track any truth for it, but by hiring these salesmen, he was much. They were just perhaps client focused.
You want this to be true.
Yeah, and if you are
an urban myth.
Yeah, it's an urban myth, but I did hear that, and that was true. So.
Well, it fits. Instructors are the real estate agents of the summer, and the ski patrollers are the carpenters.
Yeah.
So. Oh, really? Is that a thing?
Oh, it's very, and it's like most stereotypes. It has a lot of truth to it.
Yeah. Stereotypes exist for a reason.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a subtle ski instructor hate in that story.
Oh yes, there is.
I would like to talk to you about the place of digital tech within skiing. Don't all look so confused at the same time. This came out of a recent meeting that I had about a product called Carve.
Yep.
Apparently the next big thing. We all know about it. Phil's already made the face that I make. That I make whenever I think about this.
You can try it in European Snowsports.
No doubt. And I had a long chat about it, and I looked into it a little bit. The Carve technology, as you may or may not know, is a thing that goes underneath in your boot between the baseboard and the liner, and gives you data as to how well you are skiing. It also apparently, according to the website, and I haven't looked into it any further, but it also apparently has the ability to give you real-time, like if you plug yourself in with your earphones, it also gives you real-time coaching while you're skiing, right? Apparently. I don't know anything more about it than that, so I'm largely ignorant of the whole thing. It got me to thinking, and there's 2 elements of this. So there's one is, I know how I feel about it, and I know that skiing is not, it's not that for me. It's not that thing. I don't want any digital influence in my skiing or what I do skiing for. But then the other start thing I was thinking.
Do you mean like in case the Chinese are tracking you or something to do with vaccines and
that's one, he says.
Conspiracy theories.
He says recording this on the Chinese phone. But the more to the point of skiing for me is not about. It's about getting away from. I spend enough time in front of a screen. I think we all feel like we do that. Skiing is for me is to get away from all of that as much as possible, in my own personal view. The other point I want to talk about, which we'll come to a bit later, but first I want to hear your thoughts on kind of tech into your own skiing. But the second part is, what is it that clients want? Is there really a subset of clients who want to be plugged in and track like what they're doing on the mountain? In my experience, I don't think there are that many, but maybe I've misjudged that market. I misjudged maybe 2 generations down from me who think differently to the way I think. So first, I want your thoughts on like the place of digital tech within sports. You can also look at it like, for example, running or walking with things like Strava and whatnot. Fitbit. I haven't seen anyone with a Fitbit lately. So
any of it, if it helps what you do, it's got to be beneficial. Mm-hmm. Okay. However, it's how it helps, or if it helps. That's the big question, isn't it? Mm. I mean, I haven't tried Carve, and the jury's out. My gut feel is I can't see it replacing a ski instructor. I could see it being used to help, to assist.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago I tried something called Snow Cookie.
Okay.
Which had 2 sensors on the skis and a sensor on your chest. So more data points are spread out further than the carve thing, which my sort of limited thinking on that kind of technology comes to the conclusion that more data points gives you probably better data.
Yeah.
However, until I've tried it and seen how it works, it wouldn't be fair for me to give a judgment on it. Now, the Snow Cookie stuff, for sure, I could look at that on a phone and it would verify what I'm seeing, or actually might help me pick something else up. So as an instructor or a coach, it could be beneficial as a tool, such as same as video or anything like that, to help the client. Now, the interpretation of the data is the big thing.
Yeah.
That's now the whole thing about the coach in your ear. I'm not really sure how far down the road they can get with that. In terms of, it depends how much knowledge that client has in order to interpret that data to change what they do.
Yeah.
But as I say, to help the professional ski instructor or coach, for sure that can help. And I'm sure there's other things out there that can also help. I mean, it's the same with video. You know, when we started doing video and video analysis, it's great because it means you can actually look back and pick things up that you may not have seen at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, or you can show one of your other coaches and say, I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with something here. Need a fresh pair of eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, as something that can help us to give a better experience to our clients or athletes, yes, I think it can have a place.
I think it's great. I've not tried it, but if it can augment a lesson, I think it's fantastic. And we're going to get into it and have some that clients can try. But you're right. Clients have got to be led to it a little bit. You've got to understand what they're trying to do, and then if that can give them some sort of sound feedback, or when they're over the front of the foot, maybe, or not entirely on the back of the foot, or something like that. I think it can measure tilt angles, and it can measure the difference between one side and the other, so you can pick up some discrepancy in something's perhaps not balanced on either side. That would be quite useful. But I think mostly for giving people a feel for how far forwards they need to come, and some other things within a lesson. So it's like Instructor Plus. And I think they're going in that direction. Like it's something you can do with your instructor, but like it's quite expensive. I think like it's a price point which lends itself to something you include in a lesson. We've used flake trackers on kids groups in the past. That's a good system. That's more like group safety type thing, and seeing where they go. But you can also see a lot more information on those about where people ski and who's at the front of the group and things like that. And video feedback has changed a lot. It used to be you had your handy cam, then your smartphone, and then the client's smartphone. And then you say you've got 6 clients, put them in 3 sets of 2, make them swap their smartphones, film each other from the side. 300 metres later, everybody has footage of themselves on their own phone. Clients need to be reasonable skiers to film and ski, but you can, with a group of say instructors or whatever, you can easily do. The technology has changed a lot. I remember when Warren Smith, he's always doing sort of high tech stuff. He used to have really early. He had the video feedback on like a sort of outdoor iPad. Brilliant. And that has come to be the norm. And now everybody has it, in their pockets, part of their daily life. It's not a special tool anymore. But I definitely think and Carl I think is good, and there are other things which I think will be a big plus. Ski Mojo. Have you heard of that?
I have heard of Ski Mojo. Steve, what do you? I'm going to come back to Ski Mojo. What do you think about? These two have very skillfully deflected their own thoughts on digital influence when they're out skiing.
I like it
personally on the mountain. What do you think about that?
I haven't thought a lot other than just, I know I'm also a big biker, big bicyclist and all that, and extra, or just I work out, blah, blah, blah. So people say, how long did you go? How far did you climb? How long were you out? How many weights did you lift? I have no idea. I don't care.
Yeah, track all that.
That's not what I'm into. That's not what I'm there for. I'm there for the experience and to get away. But that's me.
Yeah.
Many of my friends know everything. Know what their segment is. What their personal best is on every ride. They can tell me exactly how much they lifted today and how much they're going to lift tomorrow, and it works for them. So it's I think it's so personal.
Yeah. It is. I think mainly one of the things is that there is a certain section of people that really do value that kind of digital feedback in that thing, and it's not the reason that I go skiing. I go skiing for different reasons.
Right. Yeah.
And certainly, I think it goes down that road that we were talking about again, and I talk about all the time, which is skiing as performance, which I'm not really that into. So this doesn't, that kind of tech wouldn't interest me personally. It's just me, but it doesn't interest me because that's not why I go to ski. I do it for other reasons.
I think there are plenty of other people like you.
You think there's a little community?
Oh yeah,
like
sure.
a hippie community.
I think you're right. There are people who are really into it, who would love it.
Yeah.
And then, if there was some easy way to provide some data, some good feedback or sounds or something, it would be a useful tool. The digital headsets people keep trying to promote them.
Where you can communicate with the client.
Yeah, while they're skiing.
Like the Bluetooth ones you can get for the motorbike, etc.
Yeah, I'm not sure about
the ones that partially sighted users. Skiers use.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice to be able to say, now is the point where I was talking about not sitting down on your skis,
Yeah.
or just be able to give that feedback, but also very disruptive,
Yeah, disruptive.
Very disruptive to the flow.
You'd have to, I think, probably spend some time learning to use that, and not saying too much to the clients, giving them some encouragement, maybe.
As if ski instructors need any more excuse to talk more, right?
Exactly. we better just not do this.
The thing I'm interested, funny you mentioned the extra data points, Phil, because if we just dip into the technical for a second, if all your data points are just coming from what is going on under your feet, I understand that it has tilt sensors and I guess what do you call them, velocity sensors, or like something that senses that, but there is no other sensors that you put on yourself that judges the position of, say, your hips,
your chest,
your upper
your
body,
shoulders,
chest, shoulders, arms, whatever. Like if you wanted a picture of the whole thing, you wouldn't only do it from the feet, would you? Especially if you're trying to make technical improvement. I'm thinking of, for example, if you've got a basic parallel skier, but you want them to slightly get more of that kind of down the hill action to get the turn going. You're not really going to get that from just sensors underneath your feet.
You'll get the pressure.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm assuming it picks up where the pressure is under the foot.
For sure.
But it is possible, as people like Bodie Miller have demonstrated, to get pressure in the front.
Yeah.
And not necessarily be in a traditionally aesthetically pleasing body position, and a desirable body position biomechanically for a less experienced skier. He's an extreme.
I was going to say to you, I wouldn't necessarily call Bodie Miller's skiing less desirable. I quite liked it.
No. But you wouldn't.
I'm only teasing.
Yeah, know what I mean. He's developed how he skis.
He skis how he skis.
And it's how he skis.
Yeah.
It's not how someone else would ski. And if you've got somebody of a much lower level, biomechanically you want them to be sound.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're setting them up for an injury.
I think with someone like Bodie Miller, also probably he would understand all of that before he was able to go and break all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Exactly.
No?
I mean,
he probably didn't always ski like that.
The other side is all really matters is ski performance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's it matter?
I
mean, and what other ways do you have to change your body position but through your feet? It's the only thing attached to a solid object.
Mm-hmm.
You can't push against the air to move your body around. It has to come foot up.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure that extra data points is missing. You know.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can't move this without moving from the foot.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
There are so many other variables as well, aren't there, to consider?
You can drop it.
There are some people who put accelerometers on every joint and produced then a 3D replay of a skier doing a GS. Maybe 12, 15 years ago they had this. And they talked to coach. They came and presented to us, actually, and it was very... You could see the whole skier, and it was a good giant slalom skier doing some runs, and very interesting. But they said that when they could analyse some stuff, but they basically came to the same conclusions as a good coach
would with a video.
Would just standing on the piece.
Oh, yeah.
But it took them a long time, and there's a lot of work and a lot of analysis. So as a replacement, I think probably not. But what they may have realised, the people that fund these things, is that there isn't consensus amongst coaches and instructors about looking at every skier and saying what they need to do. If there was, developing those things would be a lot easier. You know, it's like we might. You should do it, actually. Do a podcast with some videos and then just have a bunch of instructors talking about the skiers.
Oh, imagine that'd be the.
Can you imagine they put the videos on the bottom and we can all disagree? But there should be like, as long as you understand what the skier is trying to do and what the skier is skiing on and what their goals are, it should be possible to come up with something which is not too varied. You know, and then if people are way off with that, then look at why they said that, what their understanding is. And I think actually we would be quite shocked if we had 10 random instructors in here, just how different those approaches are. I do it with my staff sometimes, put a video up, and it's always surprising who's good and who's an outlier, who's in the middle of the thinking, you know. So one of the things with the Swiss Snowsports courses that I've done is their skier analysis is really good. Excellent, in fact. They don't seem to have a formal system, but it's very good.
I think and also each one of those instructors will also have like a sort of a checklist that they work through and a default place where they like to start.
Yes.
Which is just through like personal preference, right? You know, I know where I generally go. You know, I'll look at the thing and I know a sort of a semi-order of which I might go about turning somebody into a much better skier than they currently are. Yeah. And there's certain fundamental things that you'd work through, and the order in which you choose those is kind of up to you. But there are certain things that generally work with most people if you're doing a sort of generalist lesson. Yeah. But everyone has their favourite things to work on as well, right? I think everyone, it's fair to say, has certain pet things that they think really makes a difference. With clients. But I'll go out there and say the one that I see the most is that people don't have very good rotational skills on their skis, and I think that gives you the key to unlocking quite a lot of the mountain. If you can steer your skis well, you can control your speed everywhere, and it allows you to access much more of the mountain. And so I would generally go, I end up solving that problem a lot for people, because it allows me to make what we were talking about earlier, which is like quick wins. You know, what's best for you, what's going to get you skiing better in a short period of time for the 3 hours that I'm with you. You know, but everyone will have their own version of that. So for example, Phil, when he's coaching, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but when you're coaching young racers, right, it probably won't be about that.
Often is. Because especially these days, and we did a training day at Stoke last month, and all the kids are really good at just going rail, all sorts of different body positions to achieve that. Set them something to challenge them to turn their feet, and they had some interesting results. But that's because you're working perhaps with coaches who are less experienced, that think the kids have to carve through courses, and actually that's not the case. I mean, if you
create quite a one-dimensional skier in that way.
Throw back 25 years, we all had to ski on straight skis, and we all had to learn to turn our feet before we could carve, and that isn't the case anymore. So they skip that phase, and you end up having to take a step back to do it. And it's like you say, it's key. It's key to be able to ski it anywhere, is to be able to have that control, not the ski controlling where you turn, but you controlling where and how much you turn.
And the more shaped the ski, the more sensitive it is to fore and aft problems, which make teaching those steering skills even harder. So it's harder to teach skiing on those skis, even though they lend themselves to skipping that phase. A very good way of putting that, I think. Skip it, which is true.
Okay.
Maybe we should teach people on straight skis, short touring skis, and then once they've got some steering, then bring them back to parabolic.
It's quite an out there opinion. we only teach on straight skis here at Europe. You have to do it the hard way, like we used to do.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily easier for a beginner on a shaped ski. Like, it's easier if you're in intermediate. When I worked in the States, we had this thing where they were doing they called it 6 hours to parallel or something.
Right.
They thought these short shaped skis were going to really speed people through. And we tried it, and it was really hard, if not impossible.
The short skis thing, where they go straight to parallel.
No, it wasn't that. It was basically, here we have these shaped skis. This will enable people to progress a lot more quickly.
And they don't need to spend time in the wedge or even learn the wedge often.
Yeah,
in that
yeah. And it's not evolutive, which is just short skis.
Yeah.
But it basically was evolutive because they were a bit shorter. But the shape...
They had the shape to them,
Yeah, they had shape to them, which was what they thought would make it easy, but actually made it harder.
Well,
there we go. Maybe we just stop recording now. We've just come up with a genius idea.
It's all gone. What were you going to say, Steve?
Well, my boss, I ran the school at Stevens Pass for a while, and my boss there was the former captain of the Alpine demo team, and he was working with the land a lot. They developed these very specific teaching skis they were beveled on the sides and then short, and they're also, you mounted them a little bit farther forward so there's more chance you could engage them when you wanted to, but they're very much steering. They just enhance steer. You almost could not catch an edge because people they try to steer, they catch an edge. They don't want to do that again. We never fully. You have to get the ski area to buy into this whole new rental fleet.
Yeah.
And so be quite an expense.
Yeah, back east, I think ski area is more. There's more than that did that. I don't really know how it worked out, but we did have teaching skis from Rossi that were very soft torch length. They were short, and the skis rental shop would send out the appropriate ski for the beginner second lesson and all that. And they really helped.
In Villa, the blue and yellow school there still does the evolutive short skis. Straight to parallel.
Didn't the old director of the red school in Morjan, try to eliminate the snowplow?
Oh, I don't know about that.
The young one that came in?
Don't know about that. But I think the snowplow is you use it more often than you think.
Yeah.
You use it a lot.
It's absolutely fundamental.
Although you can't. There's a lot of times when I end up in the snowplow and I think, if I didn't know how to do this could be.
How many times have you hit a lift queue faster than you've thought? Yeah. And there's no space to turn the skis.
Big weights.
I mean, I do a heli camp in Telluride, and we have this phase where now we're going to learn how to do step turns and stem turns, because you don't just get in this funny place. In some place in the backcountry and just jump in and when it's turn, you want to go, oh,
yeah,
and they go, that's not right. I said,
doesn't matter.
This is essential. We're not going on the bird unless you get this down a little bit.
Right,
so
that's quite right.
Cool.
All right, so tech in skiing. I think we put that to bed. Maybe. The interesting one I was thinking more so with tech and skiing was about the clients and whether they wanted it. Because I was doing a sort of informal sample of people that I know who are clients of ours. I said, is this the sort of thing that you might be interested in using at the weekend? And the vast majority of them just said, no, I just want to ski with my kids at the weekend and get away from the bloody phone. Because all I do is look at it all week in my job. And I'm constantly on Zoom and I'm constantly doing this, that and the other. Like, why would you want to introduce... Maybe there is another set of people, maybe further, 20 somethings, I want to say, who think that improved tech might be a good idea. I'm not sure.
They're the ones that nearly walk into you as you're walking around town.
You're just making yourself sound old.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well,
right. Go on.
I would say I'd say more was the high pressure. High powered executive that was more into the phone tracking.
Oh yeah.
How fast did I go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With the flake trackers, we could see how many people were logging in to look at the stats
for their
kids, and they could see all of those stats and a track of where they'd been, and it was actually a very low number.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like under 10%.
Wow.
Would actually less. Yeah.
That's parents.
Would log in and be bothered to look at it. Yeah. They liked it because it was a added safety feature.
Yeah.
And I think we're the only ones in Europe that have it. Had it. We stopped it last year. But it was good. But no one really used the data side of it.
Assuming, as a parent, I've given my child to you to look after, and I would hope that I trust you to do that. Why would I want to log on and have a look?
Undermining
it's actually
more.
It would surely be more fun chatting to your child and going, "Where did you go today?
Right.
Tell me," or take me.
Yeah.
Take me there. And then we'll go for a hot chocolate or something, maybe.
Yeah. I like that a lot. Right. We have moved now to the section that says any other business. And I know Julian's got a big list, so you might as well start.
Not really. I think. Come
on. Where do you want to start?
Where should we start? Co-hosting.
Co-hosting is not on the menu. It's not happening. It's this is a one-man dictatorship.
Yeah, I've listened to some, not all of the other.
You don't even listen to them. How can you be a co-host if you don't even listen?
I've listened to most of them. I don't know how you pull it all together. It lasts a very long time. I have to go double speed or something. But there are some very interesting things. I think on Brexit and Europe and working in Europe for the Brits. Listening to Peter's podcast, he kind of took ownership of that whole Eurotest agreement. That for nearly 20 years meant that British instructors thought they had to go and do the Eurotest, but it really wasn't his deal. I think he was in the room. It was much more Dave Renouf, who was the chairman at the time, who pushed that deal through. And there were some people who were obviously against it because we did have, as eventually Simon Butler proved, the right to work in France without that.
Yeah.
It was a side deal that fell short of what we could achieve within the treaty that we had with Europe. And by getting everyone to buy into it, and the association to buy into it, everyone who came in was then convinced that, well, that's just the way it is, you just have to do it, because the people in our own association think you have to do it. And if you stepped outside that and challenged it, you wouldn't get the support of your own association. Which of course is the coup de grace that they were looking for. It was basically the buy-off that we accomplished. So I think Peter, it was interesting to listen to his history on that, but it wasn't, it was a bad. I feel it was a bad deal, and he's a friend of mine, so he doesn't need to take ownership of that. I think it's important we can look back on that whole period now as a thing, and when you look at now, if you were a young instructor now coming through, Peter talked also in part 2 about how it's really bad, the Brexit event, the COVID event is like a massive point of change in everyone's careers. It's really important for those people who've perhaps given up on working in France or have left Switzerland to not see it as just the end of their careers, because the world is a big place, and for the English-speaking instructors, for us Brits, we don't really have our own. We have mountains in Scotland. We have 4 or 5 ski resorts, which are pretty small. They had a sort of heyday in the 80s, where there were thousands of clients. And then they deregulated the airlines, and the economy went up in the 80s, and people would fly to the Alps. So if you lived in England or near London somewhere in the more affluent part, it was actually, even in the north of England, it was cheaper to fly to Geneva than it was to drive to Scotland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Before, though, when the airlines were unregulated, there were two. There's British Airways and Swissair, and they agreed to have 3 flights each, and it cost £200, in 1986 or whatever, to fly. And then once that all opened up, EasyJet, all those places, the charter
25
airlines.
quid flights and less.
Yeah, so then all of a sudden the skiing moved from Scotland to the Alps. And with it, then came the problem of, well, these Brits want to come and work here, and apparently they think they can because we have the Treaty of Rome and da-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. And as they went into France, which is heavily unionised, the trade union in France has gained control of the biggest ski corporation. So you have this sort of it's like a worst nightmare possible. It's not only is it a massive corporation, but it's owned by the trade union, and it has influenced not only the local regulators in the villages and the little regions of France, but the national law. It has exempted skiing from VAT, TVA, or goods and services tax. So it's got an exemption from tax if it's a cooperative. So if I go to France and open a business and employ people, I have to charge VAT.
I see.
You see where they don't. And that exemption is not a national thing, it's just for the ski instructors. And it's a cooperative.
Right.
So it has members. Half of them are members, half of them are trainees. And it's good to have Steve here who can explain it to him, because the people you're listening might not know this.
People are asleep right now.
No, this is really important. This is really important. So when these foreigners came to work in this corporation's home territory, they were like, there's no way we're having them.
Right.
But they can't just come and work wherever they want, they have to follow this system. The system was, you go into that ski school, you become a member, you share profits, which are generated by trainees.
Right.
And you're allowed to be a trainee for 5 years. If you don't pass the final test to become a member, in those 5 years, you can never teach skiing again.
What?
You're banned for life. Because there's lots of people who want to be ski instructors, they go through the 5 years and then they're kicked out. So I've got a bunch of French guys working for me who couldn't get through that system. And while the people are going through that system and passing or failing and being booted out, they're generating profits which are distributed amongst the owners of the corporation. The cooperative,
Nice.
quasi-socialist nightmare that is, which has not only corrupted French law but also EU law. So the laws allowing for that system to operate are now Europe-wide, which is why in France it's now very difficult to compete with them. And they were so dominant in the market that it affected their customer service level. Some of them are great. Yeah. But overall, it's a very, very tricky, very protected situation.
Yeah, you did a pretty good job of that. The podcast I listened to earlier, explaining how the Eurotest came to be, and just that really dry winter when all the Brits showed up and all the locals didn't come, and the Brits are working, and
that was
guaranteed instructors,
92-3,
It's like, oh.
So that, I think that situation happened, and what going forwards, what the instructors can learn from it now, is that if there is a way to, let's say, you're an English-speaking ski instructor and you can't work in Europe so much, but you can work in the States, or you can work in Japan, or you can work in Canada, or Australia, or New Zealand. Look yourselves into the possibilities. Look at the deal between Britain and Australia. There is a new deal that's just come in. Look at what's possible. Look at the rules yourself. Apply for what you can. Make those moves. Don't rely on
same old.
Don't rely on BASI or IAC it's not their job to do international negotiations. Their job is to produce good quality instructors for the places where people can work. And, go off and work in those places. I mean, the first half of my career was States, Australia, New Zealand. Brilliant. You can earn good money in those places. It's not true that the money is bad in North America. It's good.
No, the Mountain West is quite good money.
You work in a good resort, you're a good instructor, you get good tips.
Yeah.
You can earn good money, am I right?
You're right, and there's always need. If you show up and you have experience and you have a place to live, you're hired.
Yeah.
Almost guaranteed.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is, I think, a particularly despondent moment for many people or many listeners and many young new instructors and old hands who have jacked it in France. But actually there's a lot of opportunity out there. A lot of possibilities around the world, and people might say, oh, well, I can't drive out, it's not France, it's not the same. And yeah, sure, it's not the same, but you will have a fantastic experience career working in all of those other places.
The only constant is change.
That's my old boss, Mike Hammond again. That was one of his favourite expressions. The only thing that's constant is change. And I mean,
it's tough because
never more so than in the last year.
That's true. For sure.
I mean, Mike himself, he got to his level equivalent today of a level 3. He passed his level, all parts of his level 4 apart from his tech, and they basically refused to let him go through because he only had one leg.
Oh my!
But then he basically he pushed against that, and it was unfair. He skis either on one leg with outriggers, or for lower speed manoeuvres. He has. I worked with him this was like nearly 20 years ago. I worked with him. And he was like, he has an artificial leg for slow speed skiing, or outriggers for higher speed, and what a fast skier! I mean,
I've seen him around.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, going back, skiing on like 3-track, he was so fast and so good. And he's an above knee amputee, so he hasn't got his knee joint, and yet you could watch him ski with salopettes on, like on sort of a lesson, and you wouldn't know.
Wouldn't know.
Wow.
Amazing.
He was pretty good. I mean, he's probably still a pretty hot skier. I think he's probably 71 now, thereabouts.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was 71 20 years ago. I mean, he took us out skiing, and I joined this ski school, and I was like precocious young trainer, and he said, "Let's go for a ski." And honestly, I could barely keep up with him. He just took me to school,
Yeah.
It was a total lesson. Yeah, and I have a lot of respect for him. He's a good guy.
Good. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Say goodbye and Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah, happy Christmas.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, everybody.
Hey, I'm going to interview you separately, I think.
Yeah, no,
and,
separate.
once you've got him on board.
Separate podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. If I can't.
Otherwise,
poach
you're all
you.
recruiting.
That's the thing. You might find yourself in a bidding war.
Yeah, this last couple of years has been terrible. I think the future's much better.
Yeah.
It's so bright, we'll have to wear shades.
Yeah.
So let's wish everyone, like I say, wish you all a very Merry Christmas, and happy snow, lots of it for the winter season to come. Right, what I've got to do is say part 2, and then we're good.